The initial time period right after the accident is typically the most stressful and confusing. You're hurt, your car is either totaled or needs repairs, you have medical appointments to go to, and you have to still deal with all the other factors in your everyday life. And so one of the most common questions I get asked from clients is, how long is this process going to take? And so really there's 4 things to consider, 4 factors that we need to discuss when we're talking about the speed of your case. The first factor to consider is your property damage, and typically that's what gets handled first during the process of your case. And so it does depend on whether or not the other insurance has accepted responsibility for the accident. I tell clients that typically the quickest way to get your vehicle repaired or to get the total loss process if your vehicle's totaled is to go through your own insurance company if you have collision coverage. And that's because your insurance company is not concerned about really what happened or who's at fault. You have the coverage and you can utilize that. Now, the downside of that is that you will have to pay your deductible if you have a deductible. But that deductible will get reimbursed back to you once the other driver, the at-fault driver's insurance company accepts responsibility, because their insurance will then pay back your own auto insurance for whatever they paid, either for your total loss or to repair your vehicle, and then in turn you'll get your deductible back. Otherwise, sometimes they'll tell us that they need more time to investigate the claim, they're waiting on the police report, they're waiting on a statement from their driver, and in that case, there's really nothing at that point we can do to force them to accept responsibility for the accident right away. So if you're okay waiting until the third-party insurance has accepted responsibility, and of course we follow up on that as much as possible, then you can go through the third-party insurance. Otherwise, again, the quickest way is to go through your own if you do have that collision coverage. The second factor to consider is your treatment. And so obviously you're injured in the accident, and the medical treatment is one of the most important things to make sure that you get back hopefully to where you were prior to this accident happening. So we help you get set up with treatment, and we monitor that treatment, make sure you get all of the medical benefits that you need. But during that time, after we've confirmed that the insurance company has accepted responsibility, not much happens until you're done treating. And that's because we want to make sure before we start negotiating any sort of settlement for you that we know what your damages look like. So the next part of that is really going to be determined by how much treatment you need, and what the medical providers are telling you are the next steps so that you can get back to as close as you were pain-free prior to the accident. And so there's not really a specific time frame on that. We've had clients that treat for just a few weeks or many years. So it's really going to depend on you and how long you have to treat for your injuries before we start any sort of negotiation with the insurance company. The third factor to consider is the negotiation phase. So once you're done with all of your medical treatment, we get all of your medical bills and records together and we send a demand to the insurance company. That way they can review all of your medical documentation, and then they have a better idea of what your damages are. So once we've submitted that to the insurance company, we have to give them about 30 days to review all the documents that we send and contact us with an offer. Here at Kaplan Law Group, we are very diligent in making sure that we're getting your medical bills and records in a timely fashion, because we don't want there to be a lot of time from the time that you have finished treatment to us being able to negotiate a settlement for you. So we're, during your case, constantly working on making sure we're getting up-to-date bills and records, and then at the end, once you're done treating, making sure we have all your final bills and records quickly so that we can get that demand sent out in a timely fashion. The fourth factor to consider is whether or not we have to get into what's called the litigation phase. So in a perfect world, and in most cases here at Kaplan Law Group, we are able to, after the negotiation phase, come to some sort of settlement. We're able to negotiate a settlement that you're happy with, and then the case ends there. If not, though, let's say the insurance company is just not making a good offer or is refusing to make an offer altogether, or maybe is taking too much time to make an offer, then we do have to get into what's called the litigation phase. And that's where we have to file a complaint and serve the person that was at fault for the accident. And we have to go the litigation route, which means either through an arbitration or through a regular trial. So that time period can vary. The litigation phase can take just a few months, or it could take a couple of years. Obviously, our firm does everything we can to still try and get a settlement as soon as possible. But generally in the litigation phase, what we call discovery has to be done. Maybe your deposition gets taken, but usually we're able to get your case into some sort of mediation, which is a settlement conference per se, so that we can try and get it resolved without having to go through a full trial. So I hope this answers your questions about how long the process will take after you've been involved in an accident. If you need any other information or have questions, you can always give us a call at 702-381-8888.